good time to
Yeah,
mention the
sure.
families
Yeah.
that we remember back
Mhm.
then. I remember Uncle Will Martin's family lived
Yeah.
close,
Oh, yeah,
and Uncle Vass's family, and
yes,
Uncle Clayton and Aunt Ev,
right,
and then going away from the church toward Gainesville. I remember Mr. and Miss Elliott's family,
Mhm.
and then
which Elliot, you talking,
Leonard.
Leonard Elliott.
Leonard.
Leonard Easy.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mr. and Luke Martin,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
and then of course Mr. Howard Martin and his family.
Clay Evans.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Clay Evans.
Yeah,
Then
Clay
us.
was in there.
Clay Hall lived across.
Later.
Yeah.
Right. I know we would go home with some of our friends on Sunday afternoon and play. And I remember going to Mr. Luke's widow inn, and I remember going. There was a Watkins family. I don't know that they.
Is
Yeah,
that
but-
Hubert Watkins?
Hubert's
Yeah.
parents.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember going with one of. Can't think of the girl's name, but
One was Estelle.
we would play. Lorraine maybe was their name or something like that. But I remember being at her house playing one Sunday afternoon, and she and I were playing hide and seek. And so I was to go hide, and I was going to run down and hide behind this big oak tree, and I ran slap into that big oak tree, knocked like half of an egg.
Oh my.
And Mrs. Watkins put Vaseline or something on it, tied a rag around my head, and sent me home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today we wouldn't dare send a kid home when the big knots welled up on their head.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the way we entertained ourselves. We'd really have to say that the church was more than the church.
Yeah.
Right? It was our recreational
Right. Right.
place.
That's all we
The
knew.
church and the schools, the recreation.
Right, and so,
Because you was home, you was working. Though you got church, you had other
All the
kids
same
your age.
family.
Yeah.
And
What
then
I'm
we
saying
went
is
to
using the field daylight to dark.
Yeah.
well, and leave off his work much for anything. But on that particular Saturday morning, he'd go to the field, he'd work, he'd come in real hot and, you know, needing a
Sweaty.
bath. But he got ready and got to the church by 11 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah.
And all of us went.
Yeah.
But he was very dedicated to the business part of the church
Mhm.
as well as
that's
other
right.
parts.
Yeah.
And I can remember something he said even years later, Mary Jane, he'd say, everything needs to be done decently and in order.
In order. Yeah.
I can hear him say that. But I also remember the neighborhood men would come to have their hair cut on Saturday morning or on Sunday morning. And it didn't matter when, well, I remember a few would come on Saturday morning. Maybe at the same time they thought we'd be having, he'd be there.
Most
get
of our
ready to go.
time it was
But
Sunday
most of
morning.
the time it was Sunday morning. And he would say, if they didn't come in time, he'd say, well, now that's it. I've got to get ready to go to church.
Right.
And he wouldn't stay there and cut their hair. They'd have to come back or get somebody else to
Yeah.
do it because.
If he didn't tell them that, Mama would let him know.
Oh, absolutely.
What Mama would do
You
was
talk,
send one
it's
of
time
us
to
out
go.
there and say, Daddy, it's time for Sunday school.
Yeah.
But he never, I never remember him ever staying there and cutting anybody's hair.
No, we didn't.
Business is business with him.
Right, but
Yeah.
business to get to church was more important.
That's one thing I learned when I went to work for myself, when I was in town. He set the pattern for what you did, what you didn't do.
Right.
And that's the way I did my business when I opened up in the car lot. Built a Martin Toyota.
And he was a deacon for over 4 years.
Oh, I don't know
I
how
don't
long.
know, it was a long time.
Seemed like
They
a
could do